this channel. This is React 30-day challenge, and we are working on describing the UI using rendering list. So let's see what rendering list means. You will often want to display the multiple similar component from a collection of data. So multiple similar components like your to-do list, like you have that list of tasks, or basically something which you can put in an array. Okay, so you can use JavaScript array method. Definitely array methods are very helpful for you, like map, for each, reduce, what else do we have, and many more. Just be careful, okay? If you don't understand Java array method, I would recommend to go to MDN and actually check out this resource and try to get used to it. It will be very helpful for your JS journey as well as your React journey as well. To manipulate the array of data on this page, you will use filter and map. Okay, what does filter does? Filter basically takes each element of your array and checks whether this element matches the condition or criteria you have given inside your function. If that's true, it will return that element, and you will have an array, you will have a new array of elements which successfully fulfills your criteria. Like suppose, let's go and see how filter works. So this is the app, actually the site MDN, where you can see how it works. Let me increase this. So what arrays does, we have an word array with the name spray, limit, elite, exuberant, destruction present, and you're gonna use filter. So basically it will check whether the length is greater than 6. It will print this result. So if I run this, I will get all the words whose length is more than 6. You can change this as well, like 2. If you run this, you will get all the words whose length is greater than 2, which is pretty much everything. If you put less than 2, if you run this, you will get an empty array. So this result will be a new array. I'm sorry for the noise, actually. Awesome. As for the map, if we go and see the map, basically it will take each element of your array and you do something to that, and it will return the new array. Like here they have taken the element 1, 4, 6, 9 and 16 and multiplied by 2. So it become 2, 8, 18 and 32. So if I run this, the result will be the new array with the elements multiplication by 2. Okay. So this is what our filter map does. With React to filter and transform your array of data into array of components, what we will going to learn how to render component from an array using map, how to render only specific component using filter, and when and why to use React keys. These two are very handy to create something, but this when and why to use React key is actually something which is very important conceptually to understand, and this is a very good interview question as well. Let's see, rendering data from an array. Say that you have a list of content. I have a list. Okay, so this is the name of established STEM people like mathematician, chemist, physicist, and astrophysics. The only difference among this list item is their content and their data. Okay, so basically they have different content. You will need to show several instances of the same component using different data when building interfaces. So basically each data here is the name or is a list element, and we are repeating this piece of code again and again, and I have been mentioning this a lot of time. If you're repeating a certain piece of code again and again, definitely you need to find a better way, or there has to be a better way to do this, and that better way we will going to see right now. In this situation, you can store the data in JavaScript object and array and use method like map, filter to render the component from them. Okay. Here is a short example how to generate a list of item from an array, move data to an array. So basically we took all this established people's name, created an array. Now we want to create another array with using map function, and this will return your li. So basically what it is creating this, but using JS, so you don't have to write the code, and all you have to do is to print your list items. So here will be the same result. Now there will be one error: each child in a list should have a unique key and props. To check render method of the list, see the React args link, warning and information. Notice the sandbox box above and displays a console error. So basically they are saying each list should have unique key. You will learn how to fix this error later on this page. Before we get to that, let's add some structure to your data. Filtering the array of items. So we have people with different objects. Let's say you want to this data can be structured even more. Suppose we have an array of objects called people with ID, name and profession. Let's say you want a way only to show people whose profession is a chemist. Okay, so we have a list of data and we want to filter it using a profession. Here for example it's chemist. You can use JavaScript filter method to return just those. This method takes an array item, pass through them a test, a function that returns true or false, and return a new array of only those items that pass return true. Cool. So we can add this. We can use you only want the item where the profession is chemist. The test function of this look like person profession equal to chemist. Is how to put together. Create a new array with just chemist people by calling filter and just gonna check whether the profession equal to chemist. Now map this over. Okay, so okay. First filter it, have the list of array with only chemist, then map this using your map array function and create your JSX. Lastly, return this item, just add this item. Okay, let's see. So we have import people from data.js. So data.js has all your data regarding what people we are dealing with, then what they are doing. Here they are filtering it based on the profession, and here they are making your list with all the image, and at last it is adding that to your main return function, which will be visible on your screen. Warning: each child in the list should have a unique key prop. Check the render method of a list. See https react orgs link warning key for more information. So before we move that, let's add something in our before we move forward, let's add something in our rendering list, which will be you can even filter the data using filter method and create your JSX. Awesome. Let's see the pitfall. Arrow function implicitly return the expression right after your arrow symbol. Okay, so you don't need to return a statement. Okay, so what they're trying to say, if you have only one line in your arrow function, it will return that first line, so you don't have to write return. However, you must write return explicitly in your arrow if followed by a curly braces. But if you have a curly braces, so here we don't have a curly braces, so it assumes the first line needs to be returned. Here we have a curly braces, then you have to write return whatever you want to return. Arrow function containing arrow and a bracket are said to have a block body. Okay, so this is your block body we are talking about. They let you write more than single line of code, but you have to write return statement, and if you forget it, nothing gets returned. So this is very good thing to keep in mind. So I'm gonna add it here as a note. Cool. Keeping the list of item in order with a key. This is the most important part of this. Notice that all the sandboxes are above shows an error in console, like we required a unique key. You need to give each array item a key, a string, or a number that uniquely identifies it among the other items in that array. So why the key is important? So that JSX, have a way to basically know what you are doing with your array, whether what type you're updating, how you're updating and stuff. For that, it is doing this. Okay. So note, JSX element directly inside the map calls always need a key. Okay. So if you are using a map and creating a JSX, it will always need a key. Okay. Oops. Keys tell React which array item each component corresponds to so that it can match them up later. This is important if your array item can move due to sorting, get inserted, or get deleted. A well-chosen key helps the React import what exactly has happened and make the correct update to the law. This is also very important to learn actually. Rather than generating keys on the fly, you should include them in your data. Okay. So what they're saying, don't create, keys explicitly, whereas just use the data you have or get your keys from your backend or the data source. So here, suppose they have ID, so you can use this ID as your key. Okay, let's see. So each scientist has their own ID. Okay. Deep dive. Display several DOM nodes from each list. Okay. What do you do when each item needs to be rendered, not one, but several DOM nodes? Okay. Short, let's see what that mean actually. The short fragment syntax won't let you pass a key, so you need to either group them inside a div or you need to slightly longer or explicitly fragment syntax. So basically what it's trying to say, suppose you have a complex JSX, like you have a h1 and a p tag, you can't add key value to both the tag and return it, because we know in JSX you can return only single tag, so you need to either wrap it inside a fragment, but the short form of fragment will not able to do that, so you need to use a div or you need to write fragment the whole name. Okay, so this is a very important point to be kept in mind. Okay, fragment disappear from the DOM, so this will produce a flat list h1p, h1p, so on. So suppose you have to add a key and you need to return two tags, but one is h1 tag, another is p tag. So it's important to wrap both of them inside a div or a fragment, but short form fragment cannot do that, so you need to write fragment tag explicitly and then add your key. Where to get your key?
Different sources of data provide different sources of key. Data from a database. If your data is coming from a database, you can use database key ID, which are unique by nature. So if you are getting a database data, use key and ID for that. Locally generated data. If your data is generated and persisted locally, example nodes in notes taking app, use increment counter. Or you can use this method, crypto random UUID will create a random number, or package like UUID which creates the item. So this is also very important. All these things, will help you later on to study what exactly is happening. Rules of the key must be unique among siblings. Okay. However, it's okay to use the same key for the JX6 node of different array. Cool. So what they mean by that, suppose you have a fragment key, the person ID should be unique. Like each person should have unique ID. They cannot have, like, if one person has 0 ID, the other array person should not have 0. But suppose you create 2 lists, then the first element of that both the list can have the same ID, like 0 0. For React, it will know, oh, when they are dealing with this list, that is the 0 ID they will be denoting. When they are doing the other list, they will be able to distinguish 2 different lists. But inside the same list, you should not have the same ID. Again, key must be unique among the sibling. However, it's okay to use keys different array. Key must not change, or it defeats their purpose. So basically, key is used to make a record of what is happening to your nodes or DOM, right? But if you keep changing your key, it will how the React will take an account, or how it will keep a track of it. So rules of the key, first and foremost, it should be unique among the siblings, but can be same among different parents. Must not change. The key should be, immutable or must not change. So I'm going to add this as well. Rules of the key. Why does React need key? Imagine that the files on your desktop did not have names. Instead, you prefer them by their order. The first file, second file, and so on. Okay. You could not get used to it, but once you delete the file, it would get confusing. The second file will become the first file, the third file will become the second file, and so on. Okay. File name in the folder and JSX key in an array serve similar purpose. Okay. They let us uniquely identify an item between its siblings. Basically, to identify the item in siblings, that was key is used for. A well-chosen key provides more information